welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I'm still doing a match preview between Nigeria and Gabon. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will take on Gabon by 4 p.m. Nigerian time. That's when the match will be played, 4 p.m. The match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Gabon. So as I was saying, Gabon finished second from Group F behind Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast finished first in that group with 26 points and Gabon finished with 25 points. Gabon scored a total of 22 goals and they conceded 9 goals. Now looking at the players that play for Gabon, for their goalkeeper we have Lois Umbaba, that's their goalkeeper. We have Jacques Ekomi, that's the defender. Then we also have Bruno Manga, who plays as a defender. There's Mick Onfia, who plays as a defender. There's Anthony Oyono, who plays as a defender as well. There's Gulo Kanga, who plays as a midfielder. There's Mario Lemina, who plays as a midfielder. And who is Victor Osimhen's playmates in Galatasaray. They both play for the club Galatasaray. Talking about Mario Lemina. They also have Didier Undong, who plays as a midfielder. Then we have Aubameyang, who plays as a forward and who plays in Olympique Marseille. They have Dennis Bonga, who plays as a forward as well. And they have Noah Lemina, who plays as a forward. Now, looking at Gabon, these are the players to watch out for in Gabon. I picked 5 players. So here are the 5 players to watch out for in Gabon. The first player to watch out for is Aubameyang. That's their captain, Aubameyang. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. For Aubameyang, he plays for Olympique Marseille and he plays as a striker. He's Gabon's top scorer with 39 goals in 83 appearances. He has scored 39 goals in 83 appearances. And of course, he's a former Arsenal and former Chelsea player. And then he has looking at his scorecard for his club this season. That's talking about Aubameyang. This season, Aubameyang has contributed 4 goals and 5 assists in 11 appearances across all competitions for Olympique Marseille. That's talking about Aubameyang. This season, he has contributed 4 goals and 5 assists in 11 appearances across all competitions for Olympique Marseille. Then the second player is Dennis Bonga. For Dennis Bonga, he plays for the club Los Angeles FC in the United States of America. He plays as a winger or as a forward. And in this season or this year for the Major League Soccer, that's in the United States of America, this year in the Major League Soccer, Dennis Bonga has scored 26 goals and provided 9 assists in 33 appearances. So he has scored 26 goals and provided 9 assists in 33 appearances in the Major League Soccer. That's talking about Dennis Bonga. The top player is Mario Lemina. For Mario Lemina, he plays for Galatasaray in Turkey. He plays for Galatasaray in Turkey. As I said, he's Victor Osimhen's teammate in Galatasaray. And he plays as the midfielder for Gabon. Of course, for Galatasaray, he plays as the central midfielder. And talking about Mario Lemina, one thing about him is that he's got such passing skills, like he's got such passing ability. And he scored for Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers. He scored one of the goals for Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers. So that's the top player to watch out for in Gabon. The fourth player is Didier Undong. For Didier Undong, he also plays as a midfielder for Gabon. And he plays for the club Persian Gulf in the Pro League in Iran. That's where he plays for. That's talking about Didier Undong. Then the fifth player is Gulo Kanga. For Gulo Kanga, he plays as a midfielder for Gabon. That's talking about Gulo Kanga. He plays as a midfielder for Gabon and he plays for the club Esela Erokspor in Turkey. That's where he plays for. And he also scored for Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers. He scored a goal for Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers. So these are the players to watch out for in Gabon. Let me mention their names again. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, there is Dennis Bonga, there is Mario Lemina, there is Didier Undong, and there is Gulo Kanga. So those are the players to watch out for in Gabon. Now, for the benefit of those of us who do not know the players in camp or the players invited for this match, here are the players. We have the goalkeepers. For the goalkeepers, we have Stanley Nwabali, who plays for Chippa United in South Africa. There's Amos Obasogie, who plays for Singida Black Stars in Tanzania. Maduka Okoye was also invited for this match. He plays for Udinese FC in Italy. Then for the defenders, we have the captain William Troost-Ekong, who plays for Al Kholoud in Saudi Arabia. There's Bright Osai Samuel, who plays for Birmingham City in England. There's Semi Ajayi, who plays for All City. For Semi Ajayi, he's not going to play. He's not going to play today's match because already he's on suspension because of accumulation of yellow cards. But then he was invited in case, I mean, if Nigeria wins today's match against Gabon, if the Super Eagles of Nigeria wins today's match against Gabon, and we have to play the winner of the match between Cameroon or Congo. So Semi Ajayi will get to play that match. So that's why he's in camp. He's not going to play today's match because of suspension due to accumulation of yellow cards. But then if Nigeria wins today's match and we get to play either Cameroon or DR Congo, Semi Ajayi will play that match. So that's why he's in camp. We also, for the defenders, we also have Bruno Onyemachi, who plays for Olympiacos in Greece. There's Calvin Bassey, who plays for Fulham in England. There's Chidozie Awazim, who plays for Nantes in France. There's Zaidou Sanusi, and I mean, it's a nice comeback for Zaidou Sanusi into the team. Zaidou Sanusi plays for FC Porto in Portugal. There's Benjamin Fredericks, the young man who impressed against Lesotho. He's also in camp. And Benjamin Fredericks, he plays for Denda FC in Belgium. Then for the midfielders, we have Wilfred Ndidi, who plays for Besiktas in Turkey, who plays for Besiktas FC in Turkey. There's Rafael Onyedika, who plays for Club Brugge, or Club Brugge, as some people will call it. So Rafael Onyedika is also there. He plays in Belgium for Club Brugge. There's Alex Iwobi, who plays for Fulham FC in England. There's Frank Onyeka, who plays for Brentford FC in England. And there's Al-Hassan Yusuf Abdullahi, who plays in the MLS, that's the Major League Soccer, United States of America. So he plays for the club New England Revolution in USA. That's talking about Al-Hassan Yusuf Abdullahi. Then for the forwards, we have Samuel Chukwueze, who plays for Fulham FC in England. There's Victor Osimhen, who plays for Galatasaray FC in Turkey. And the other time I was talking about Victor Osimhen, I said Victor Osimhen this season for his club Galatasaray, he has scored 3 goals in the Super League, and in the Champions League he has scored 6 goals. He scored in their last match against Ajax Amsterdam. He scored against Ajax. That's talking about Victor Osimhen. He scored in the Champions League match against Ajax, where he scored a hat-trick in that match. He scored 2 penalty kicks and also scored a 3rd goal. So he scored a hat-trick in that match. And then as a result now, Osimhen has 6 goals in 3 matches in the Champions League. He's the top scorer presently in the Champions League. That's talking about Victor Osimhen. He's presently the 2025-2026 highest goal scorer in the Champions League with 6 goals. Ahead of players like Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, and Harry Kane. Those guys are mentioned. Talking about Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, and Kylian Mbappe, they all have 5 goals each. So Victor Osimhen is top. He tops that chart. He tops the goal scorer chart with 6 goals. And for Ademola Lookman, he's also in the squad. He plays for Atalanta in Italy. That's Ademola Lookman scored a goal against AC Milan. He scored in the Serie A against AC Milan. That was 2 matches. That was 2 matches before the last one. He scored in the Serie A against AC Milan. That's talking about Ademola Lookman. Then we also have Akko Adams, who plays for Sevilla FC in Spain. There's Moses Simon, who plays for Paris FC in France. There's Tolu Aroko-Dare, who plays for Wolves in England. And there's Olakunle Olusegun, who plays for Paris Novgorod in Russia. So these are the players called up by the coach Eric Chell. And of course, most of them are in camp. In fact, all of them are in camp. That's talking about the players called up by Eric Chell. Now, let's quickly look at the Super Eagles scorecard this season with their various clubs. I mean, I'm just going to be looking at the midfielders and the attackers. I picked the forwards and the midfielders, talking about the scorecard as in how they fared in their various clubs this season, this 2025 season, how most of them fared in their various clubs. So I picked the midfielders and the attackers. I'm going to start with the forwards. So I'm going to start with Victor Osimhen. For Victor Osimhen, this season, he has scored 3 goals in 9 matches in the Super League for Galatasaray. And then he has scored 6 goals in 3 matches in the UEFA Champions League. That's talking about Victor Osimhen. And don't forget that he's the highest goal scorer in the UEFA Champions League now, presently, with 6 goals. Then, okay, he's there, as I said, he's presently the highest goal scorer in this season's UEFA Champions League with 6 goals. Ahead of Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, and Kylian Mbappe with 5 goals each. And he scored a hat-trick in their last Champions League match against Ajax. That's for Osimhen. Then for Ademola Lookman scored 1 goal in 7 matches in the Serie A this season for Atalanta. And he played 3 matches in the Champions League this season. That's talking about Ademola Lookman. Let me read it out again. Ademola Lookman. He scored 1 goal in 7 matches in the Serie A this season for Atalanta, and he played 3 matches in the Champions League this season. Then the top player is Samuel Chukwueze. For Samuel Chukwueze, he played 4 matches for Fulham in the Premier League this season, and he provided 1 assist in those 4 matches. He provided one assist out of those 4 matches. Then he played 1 match for Fulham in the EFL Cup, that's the Carabao Cup this season. That's talking about Samuel Chukwueze. Then the 4th player is Moses Simon. For Moses Simon, he scored 3 goals and provided 2 assists in 12 matches for Paris FC in the League One this season. That's talking about Moses Simon. Moses Simon scored 3 goals and provided 2 assists in 12 matches for Paris FC in the League One this season. Then the 5th player is Tolu Arokodare. For Tolu Arokodare, he played 7 matches in the Premier League this season for Wolves, and then he played 2 matches in the Carabao Cup, that's the EFL Cup, and he scored 2 goals in the Carabao Cup. That's talking about Tolu Arokodare. Tolu Arokodare played 7 matches in the Premier League this season for his club Wolves, and then he scored 2 matches. He played 2 matches in the Carabao Cup, and he scored 2 goals in the Carabao Cup. Now, the 6th player is Akko Adams. For Akko Adams, he played 10 matches in the La Liga for Sevilla, his club, this season, and he scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist. Once again, Akko Adams played 10 matches in the La Liga for Sevilla this season, and he scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist. Then we have Olakunle Olusegun. Olakunle Olusegun plays in the Russian league for the club Novgorod. That's where he plays for. And for his club Novgorod, that's talking about Olakunle Olusegun. Yeah, he scored 2 goals and he provided 1 assist this season. So he played 14 matches for them this season, and he scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist. That's about the forwards. Then for the midfielders, we have Alex Iwobi. For Alex Iwobi, he played 11 matches for Fulham in the Premier League this season, and he scored 1 goal and provided 2 assists. He also played 2 matches in the Carabao Cup for Fulham this season. That's talking about Alex Iwobi. He played 11 matches for Fulham in the Premier League this season. He scored 1 goal, he provided 2 assists, and he played 2 matches in the EFL Cup. Then for Frank Onyeka, talking about Frank Onyeka, don't forget that he was the one that scored the 4th goal for Nigeria. And what a superb volley it was. Beautiful goal. I mean, that was a well-taken goal by Frank Onyeka. So for Frank Onyeka, for Frank Onyeka this season, for his club, Brentford, in the Premier League, he has played 6 matches in the Premier League for Brentford, and he has provided 1 assist. He also played 3 matches in the EFL Cup, that's the Carabao Cup, for Brentford this season, and he provided 1 assist. That's talking about Frank Onyeka. Therefore, Wilfred Ndidi played 10 matches for his club, Besiktas, in the Super League in Turkey this season, and he scored 1 goal. So Wilfred Ndidi played 10 matches for his club, Besiktas, in Turkey in the Super League this season, and he scored 1 goal. Then for Rafael Onyedika, he played 10 matches in the Belgian Pro League for his club, Club Brugge, this season, and he also played 2 matches in the UEFA Champions League, and he scored 1 goal this season. That's talking about Rafael Onyedika. Rafael Onyedika played 10 matches in the Belgian Pro League for his club Brugge this season, and he played 2 matches in the UEFA Champions League, and he scored 1 goal. Therefore, Al-Hassan Yusuf Abdullahi, he played 34 matches in the MLS, that's the Major League Soccer, for his club New England Revolution this year. That's talking about 2025. That's this year, and he scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist. That's talking about Al-Hassan Yusuf Abdullahi. He played 34 matches in the Major League Soccer for his club, New England Revolution, and he scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist. So that's the scorecard of the Super Eagles this year. If you are just joining me, I'm doing the match preview of the match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Gabon. In a few minutes from now, they'll file out and they'll play against each other. It's the World Cup African playoff. It's the 2026 World Cup African playoff. So the first match of today, because 2 matches will be played today, the first match will be between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Panthers of Gabon by 5 p.m. Nigeria time. So by 8 p.m. Nigeria time today, Cameroon will take on DR Congo by 8 p.m. Nigeria time today. Cameroon will take on DR Congo, and the winner of the match between Nigeria and Gabon will take on the winner of the match between Cameroon and DR Congo on Sunday, also in Morocco. And the winner of the match on Sunday, the eventual winner of the match on Sunday, will qualify for the playoff to join the likes of Bolivia and New Caledonia. Those are, I mean, the two teams. Bolivia from South America, that's the CONMEBOL, and then New Caledonia from Oceania have already qualified for the playoff. So so anything that qualifies from CAF, anything that qualifies from Africa, will go and join one team from they go and join one team from Asia, and they also join two teams from CONCACAF as well as New Caledonia and Bolivia. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria will take on Gabon today, and what a match is going to be, what a cracker of a match is going to be in the World Cup qualifiers. I mean, in our matches in the World Cup qualifiers, many people were not really impressed with the performance of the Super Eagles. But in our match against Benin, in our last match against Benin, we saw a different Super Eagles entirely. We saw another team entirely in terms of cohesion, in terms of the way they played, in terms of the way they scored goals. And the other time, I was saying that our match against Benin Republic was the best match as far as I am concerned, because in our matches in the World Cup qualifiers, the Super Eagles of Nigeria recorded 4 wins, 4 draws, and then 1 loss. The only match they lost was against Benin Republic away from home. But in the matches we won, we defeated Rwanda 2-0 away from home. We defeated Lesotho 2-1 away from home. We defeated Lesotho in Nigeria here as well. And then we defeated Rwanda in Nigeria here as well by 1-0. And we also defeated Benin. Of all the 4 matches Nigeria played, the most convincing was against Benin Republic, because for the very first time, look at it, Victor Osimhen scored a hat-trick in that match. But that match, Nigeria needed to score 4 goals to be able to make it to the playoffs. After Victor Osimhen was substituted in that match, after he was substituted because he got injured in that match, when he was leaving the field, there was this thing in me that kept saying that we were going to score the 4th goal. But the reason why I believe that we were going to score the 4th goal was because of the way we played that time. I mean, we looked like a team that was going to score the 4th goal. In fact, the way we played that time, in every department of the game, we looked like a team that was going to score the 4th goal. So arguably, that was the best match the Super Eagles of Nigeria played in that match. That was our best match. That's my own opinion. Anyway, I stand to be corrected. I mean, any opinion may differ, but as far as I am concerned, against Benin Republic, that was our best match, because that was the match the Super Eagles of Nigeria showed much commitment, much hunger, so much skills, and so much cohesion. In fact, that match, they were really ready for that match. And then the funny thing about that match is that coming into that match, we're not even the favorite to win that match. We're not the favorites. Benin Republic were clear favorites to win that match, because they had a good run in the World Cup qualifiers, and then they only needed to win the match. What they needed to do, I'm talking about Benin, all they needed to do in that match was win the match and qualify. They had their destiny in their hands. That was what they needed to do, win the match and qualify for the World Cup. But what happened? The Super Eagles of Nigeria can never be underrated. I mean, anybody who underrated the Super Eagles of Nigeria would really... The Super Eagles of Nigeria can never be underrated, won that match by 4 goals to 0. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria can never be underrated. You can never underrate the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And then the Super Eagles of Nigeria really won that match by 4 goals to 0. The following players did not make the list. Terence Murphy suffered a hamstring injury last month after returning from international duty. And then his coach in Nice has come out to say that he's expected to be out for several weeks. That's talking about Terence Murphy. So he couldn't make the squad. Another player that couldn't make the squad, Felix Agu, he suffered a ligament injury during Werder Bremen's 1-0 Bundesliga victory over St. Pauli. That's talking about Felix Agu. Then Olaino as well. Olaino sustained a long-term injury during the international break, during the international duty last month. So Sean Dyche, his coach, has described Aino's injury as a long-term situation, and then the versatile defender may face an extended spell on the sidelines. That's talking about Olaino. For Cyril Dessers, he's expected to miss the match too. I mean, it wasn't called because it wasn't also called because of an ankle ligament injury. Therefore, Fisayo Dele Bashiru, he has been ruled out for a month following a thigh injury that he sustained during Lazio's Derby della match on September 21. Therefore, of course, I mentioned Semi Ajayi. Semi Ajayi will not play today due to accumulation of yellow cards. But if the Super Eagles of Nigeria win today's match, he will play our next match on Sunday. So if the Super Eagles of Nigeria win today, they will take on the winner of Cameroon and DR Congo on Sunday. That's when the match will play Sunday. That's in 3 days' time, Sunday. So that's the latest update. Now looking at the countries that have already qualified for the World Cup, as at this report, or as at this video, the countries that have already qualified for the World Cup. For African countries, 9 countries qualified automatically, and the countries that qualified are Egypt, Senegal, South Africa, Cape Verde, Morocco, Ivory Coast, Algeria, Tunisia, and Ghana. Then from the other continent, other countries that have qualified for the World Cup are, of course, Canada, Mexico, and United States. They are the co-hosts, so they've already qualified automatically as being the host of the tournament. We also have Australia, Iran, Japan, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Uzbekistan. They've qualified from Asia. Then from England, from Europe, we have England. England has already qualified for the World Cup. Then from Oceania, we have New Zealand. New Zealand have qualified. Then we have, from the CONMEBOL, we have Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Uruguay. These are the countries that qualify from South America. So once again, the countries that qualify for the World Cup altogether now: Egypt, Senegal, South Africa, Cape Verde, who are making their debut and who are very impressive. See now, Cape Verde qualified ahead of Cameroon. So because they qualified automatically now, Cameroon will be playing in the playoffs. Kudos to Cape Verde. They really played very well in the qualifier. So Cape Verde have qualified. Morocco, Ivory Coast, Algeria, Tunisia, Ghana, Canada, Mexico, United States, Australia, Iran, Japan, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Uzbekistan, England, New Zealand, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Uruguay. So these are the qualified countries already for the World Cup. So with the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualify for the World Cup, will they join all these countries who qualify for the World Cup? Only time will tell. But today, we really want to wish them all the best in today's match, because they really have to go all out in today's match. Talking about Gabon are ranked 77th in the world, while the Super Eagles are ranked 41 in the world. So that's why they are getting to play against each other. Looking at the 4 countries that made the playoffs for Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, DR Congo, amongst all of them, the Super Eagles are the highly ranked team. They are the best ranked team. So that's why they'll be playing against. That's why they'll be playing against Gabon. Gabon are the lowest ranked team. Then the second ranked team also will be playing against the third ranked team. So that's why we have Cameroon taking on DR Congo. So the Super Eagles are the most ranked team amongst the 2 teams. And for Gabon, they have never qualified for the World Cup. But for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they've been to the World Cup 6 times. In USA in 1994, France 98, Korea, Japan 2002, South Africa 2010, Brazil 2014, and Russia 2018. That's talking about Super Eagles of Nigeria. And they go to the second round in USA 94, they go to the second round in France 1998, and they go to the second round in Brazil in 2014. At the last edition in Qatar, the Super Eagles of Nigeria missed narrowly out of qualification. They missed narrowly out of qualification because between Nigeria and Ghana, it was even. The only thing that separated the 2 teams was away goal rules, because the Ghanaians picked the ticket ahead of Nigeria due to away goals. Because when we went to Accra to play against them in the first leg, the match ended in a goalless draw. But when the Ghanaians came to Nigeria here, the match ended 1-1. So because Ghana scored A, and we did not get to score in their home, so as a result of that, Ghana qualified ahead of Nigeria on the away goal rules. But this time around, this 2010 qualifiers, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have not had it rosy at all. From their first match against Lesotho, that they drew the match, to their second match against Zimbabwe, that they played the draw as well, to their third match against South Africa, that they played another draw. So the Super Eagles played 3 draws in their first 3 matches, and in their fourth match against Benin, they lost the match. In our 5th match against Rwanda, we defeated Rwanda 2-0. And when everybody had thought that yes, they were really in a good state or in a good place to qualify or to start doing well, they came to Nigeria here and they allowed Zimbabwe to play a draw against them, and the match ended in a 1-0 draw. In our 7th match against South Africa, the one we played against South Africa, it was another draw away from home. It was another draw against Lesotho. The Super Eagles defeated Lesotho 2-1. but it was more of a, we kind of struggled in that game against Lesotho. Even against Rwanda in Nigeria, yeah, we kind of struggled. The only match the Super Eagles really played convincingly was against Benin, that we defeated them by 4 goals to 0. So with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, replicate the same form, only time will tell. And don't forget that 2 days ago, that was on Tuesday, the boys did not train. They just did not train because they complained of unpaid bonuses and allowances that accrued over time. And so because of that, they couldn't train. But later, that was yesterday, the captain of the team, that's talking about Cruz Ekron, came out to say, fine, all these bonuses have been paid, and then the allowances, everything has been settled now, and then they can now go back and start training. So they trained yesterday, and then today again they'll be playing against Gabon. So only time will tell whether they'll be able to do very well. But then we want to read the Super Eagles on the best in this match. Like what happened on Tuesday, I really don't want to talk about it. But a lot of people were saying that was not the best time for this. They have a crucial match against Gabon. Why would they do that now? Well, only they have their reasons for doing that. But the most important thing is that everything has been resolved, and they have gone back to training, and they're going to be playing against Gabon today. And then what Nigerians want is that they want them to win today's match, because there's no room for error. You cannot lose this match and go to the World Cup. It's not possible. It's a must-win match. You have to win this match. It's either you win it or you're out. Like today's match is so much. It's a crucial match. Like it's either you win today's match or you're out. You're not winning it, and you're not going to the World Cup. So the match is as crucial as that. Win today's match and go to the World Cup. Win today's match and play your next match against either Cameroon or DR Congo on Sunday. It's as easy as that. Win it and play your next match on Sunday. It's as easy as that. There's no room for error today. Like if there's any error, that's the end of everything. Like any error and the World Cup hopes are over. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria must really play very well today. And they must leave no room for error, and no error today at all. They must just go out and play and win today's match. And looking at Gabon, here are the players that have scored for Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers. We have Dennis Bouanga, who has scored 8 goals for Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers. They also have Alevina. There's Aubameyang. Aubameyang has scored 6 goals. I'm talking about Aubameyang against Gambia. When Gabon were busy defeating Gambia 4-3, Aubameyang scored 4 goals in that match. Aubameyang scored 4 goals against Gambia in that particular match on Monday night. He scored 4 goals against Gambia. And in the World Cup qualifiers, Aubameyang has scored 6 goals already. They also have Bemba. Bemba has scored for them as well. And then there's Mio, who has also scored for them as well. There's Mario Lemina, who plays in Galatasaray. He's Victor Osimhen's teammate in Galatasaray. He has also scored as well for them. So these are the goal scorers for Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers. For the Super Eagles of Nigeria, the following players have scored for them. We have Semi Ajayi. Semi Ajayi has scored for them. We have Kelechi Iheanacho. There's Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Raphael Onyedika. Victor Osimhen has scored 6 goals for Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers. Talking about Victor Osimhen, 6 goals for Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers. There's Tolu Arokodare. There's Calvin Bassey. Calvin Bassey scored against South Africa when we played against them away from home. There's William Cruz Ekong, who has also scored for them. There's Akko Adams, and there's Frank Onyeka. So these are the goal scorers for Nigeria. Akko Adams and Frank Onyeka. So looking at the matches Nigeria played so far in the World Cup qualifiers, let's just quickly x-ray it. Our first match was against Lesotho, and in that match, the Super Eagles of Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers, it's like the way they started, they really did not start. Like the motivation was not there. They were not really motivated in the beginning. The way they finished in their last match against Benin, if they had started the qualifiers that way, by now they would have picked the ticket already. Like they would have had an automatic qualification instead of going through the playoffs. If they had started the way they played against Benin. But in our first match against Lesotho, it was a home match. We hosted Lesotho here, and the Super Eagles of Nigeria thrilled in that match. Lesotho were the first to score in that match. Lesotho scored first before Nigeria equalized in the 67th minute through Semi Ajayi. That was our first match, and that was the beginning of how we found ourselves in the playoff. That was the very first beginning. Imagine starting your World Cup qualifiers on a draw, like drawing your not winning your World Cup qualifier. You're starting your World Cup qualifiers by drawing your first match, and going ahead to also draw your second match and your third match. So what do you expect? So that was how Nigeria started this World Cup qualifiers. Our first match was against Lesotho in Nigeria here, and it was even Lesotho that came to score first before Nigeria equalized in the 67th minute, and the match ended in a draw. Our second match was against Zimbabwe. That was even an away match. It was an away match, but once again, Zimbabwe were the first to score. Zimbabwe scored in the 26th minute, and Kelechi Iheanacho equalized for Nigeria in the 67th minute. Our first match against Lesotho, it was also in the 67th minute we equalized. And our second match against Zimbabwe, the same narrative, we equalized in the 67th minute. And our third match was against South Africa, against Bafana of South Africa. They came to Nigeria here. Fine, before Nigeria, they scored all their goals in the first half. The match ended 2-1. That was our fourth match. We won that match by 4-1. Then our fifth match was against Rwanda, away from home. Obviously, after playing 3 draws in your first three matches and losing the fourth one to Benin, by this time Nigeria were beginning to talk. They were like, "What? Like, are we not going to go to the World Cup?" And everybody was beginning to complain and talk, And then the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they went to Rwanda and they defeated Rwanda 2-0 with Victor Osimhen scoring the 2 goals for Nigeria in the match. He scored the first goal. In fact, he scored the 2 goals in the first half. He scored in the 11th minute and he scored in the additional minute of the first half. That was Victor Osimhen. And that was our first win of the World Cup qualifiers. And in our sixth match, we came to Nigeria here, and Zimbabwe came to Nigeria. So because we had already won against Rwanda, we expected this trend to continue. But what happened? Nigeria, before we even scored in that match, we scored in the 74th minute. And after we scored, Nigeria now Zimbabwe equalized in the 90th minute. And you could see that Zimbabwe, you could see how much that match meant to them. Because the way they celebrated that match, as if they picked the ticket from the group. That was the way they celebrated the match. The way they celebrated that draw against Nigeria. That was our sixth match. They came to play us here. They came to draw Nigeria here in Nigeria. Nigeria was the first to score in the 71st minute, and they equalized in that match. They equalized in the very tiny minute of the match. Then our seventh match was against Rwanda in Nigeria here. Tolu Arokodare scored for Nigeria, but it was not a convincing performance by the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Our seventh match, it was not convincing at all. And then our eighth match was against South Africa, and then what a match it was away from home, South Africa. So that was how it ended. So we have a match now by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. We want to wish the Super Eagles of Nigeria all the best in this match. I'll come back to the studio hopefully after the match to talk about anything that transpires during the match. I'll come back to do my own review of the match. Thank you so much for joining me. Wishing the Super Eagles of Nigeria all the best in this match. The Super Eagles of Nigeria should just exhibit the Nigeria spirit. Nigeria know they carry last, and when the Chiefs are down, when the Chiefs are really down, that's when you see the Super Eagles bringing in their A game. Thank you for joining me. It's your girl Topsy. Thank you.